Let's go ahead and move on to your conference here, and we're going to go into the Big Ten. Chase, so go ahead and talk me through here. Tell me how somehow Iowa's going to win the Big Ten championship this year.
All right. So here's how it's going to happen. No, I'm kidding. I've got Ohio State. I do have them playing Iowa. And that's because we talked about it, the divisions, right? Obviously, Iowa's not the second best team in the Pac-12 or in the Pac-12. Well, they're not the second best team in the Pac-12 either, but they're not the second best team in the Big Ten. But I believe they are the best in the Big Ten West. And that's how they do it, right? You've got all these studs in the Big Ten East, and then you've got the rest in the Big Ten West. So I think Ohio State wins this pretty handedly, but I think I want to just go over. I think Iowa actually has a sleeper year, right? Gets to the Big Ten. The hardest game they have is Penn State, which they've beat 4 times in a row now, and Penn State's been good all of those years. There's just something about Iowa, Penn State. It's going to be a night game in Happy Valley, and then they play Wisconsin, and Wisconsin they normally go back and forth. I think with this new offense and their same defense, I think that worst case scenario, we lose one of those games, and I think it may be Penn State, and that doesn't affect us in the West, right? Minnesota's in a rebuilding year. You've seen them. PJ Flex, kind of his Aurora row the boat kind of wore off. Nebraska hasn't been anything ever, and they won't start being anything. Wisconsin's got right there. If we beat Wisconsin, that's our biggest rival, right? Northwestern's out because they had all that scandal. No one's there. I think Iowa versus Ohio State, and Ohio State gets the W and Indy.
Hey, listen, there we go. Maybe Iowa gets the upset.
Crazy.
Listen, I got similar. I got Iowa as well, coming out of the West, but I got Michigan coming out of the East. I've got Michigan going undefeated and winning the conference championship. I just I don't know how you can look at what happened the past 2 seasons and look what happened this offseason and think that Ohio State is somehow better than Michigan. Michigan is coming off 2 wins against Ohio State, and Michigan is returning almost all of their players, right? They're returning their quarterback. They're returning their running back. He's coming back off injury. He's going to be a stud. They're returning their offensive linemen. They got new players in the offensive line. Their defense is better. I mean, Michigan is just returning everybody, and they're so good, and they got better. Ohio State, did they get any? I mean, they lost a lot. They lost their quarterback. They lost their starting tackles. They lost another guard. They lost a lot of people. Ohio State did to the draft, which is fine. And it's not. I'm not saying it's all doom and gloom, right? We saw what happened. Georgia lost their entire team and came back and still dominated because good teams are good teams and they can replenish. They can bring in people to do it. Ohio State has done that. I'm not worried about their quarterback leaving. Ryan Day has shown that he's good with his quarterbacks, right? So wherever that quarterback is going to come out of, I don't believe they've said who the starter is yet, but they're going to be okay. I'm not worried about that. They have Marvin Harrison Jr. They're Omega Ibuka. They're going to be okay, but I just don't see what they've done to do anything to get over the Michigan hump, where Michigan has added more pieces and is returning pieces that have already been dominant, right? The Ohio State could not stop the run last year. Michigan ran all over them, especially in that second half. They haven't really done anything to fix that. And so for me, I just think, Michigan, Ohio State has been close every single year, but this year, to me personally, I don't think it's close. I think Michigan is far and beyond the better team here. We'll see how it plays out, obviously. But I think Michigan gets the three-peat again over Ohio State. And Iowa, I'm with you on the Iowa. They don't really play a tough schedule at all. Their offense just has to be a little bit better, which I hopefully it will with McNamara coming in there. I mean, Petras was just the worst thing ever. So McNamara coming out there, like you said, Penn State, Wisconsin, are really the only ranked games. Nobody else can really, hold a flame to it. We'll see what kind of happens with Matt Rhule in Nebraska. Do they try and do anything to give them some fits? But Rutgers, Illinois, Northwest, they don't have really any competition at all. And so with that defense, it's just I can't keep up with how many people have got suspended from betting. I don't know how what that's going to look like, but I like the Hawkeyes to come out of the West there. I'm with you on that one. I don't think that would be a shock at all. Wisconsin, I think, would be the only other team that could come out of the West. I like Luke Fickell. I like what he did with Cincinnati. I think he could have success there in the Big Ten with Wisconsin. I think it's going to be a little too early to say he's going to be able to win that division, but he could shock some people win that division because it's not as competitive, right? As you said, you mentioned the teams that are in there, but I'm riding with Iowa just because I know their defense is solid, and I know that their offense just has to be their offense just has to score like a touchdown a game, like that's it, and they're gonna win, and they're gonna win most of their games and maybe only lose 2 or 3 as long as their offense can put up 21 points or what is it, 24, 25 points a game is all they need to put up. And I think they can do that with McNamara, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, I got Michigan trumping Iowa and punching a ticket.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. Again, I mean, I just picked Ohio State to lose 3 times to Michigan in my lifetime is unheard of. So that's why I went Ohio State. I really do think they're the better recruiting team. I know that Michigan returned everyone, and I like Michigan a lot. We'll get into that, when we talk about our teams. I still think Michigan's a very, very good team. And I think that I have Michigan losing 1 game, and it's to Ohio State to keep them out of the championship. So